the silent mistake that's keeping you from getting rich.
Have you ever seen someone flaunt a luxury car but can barely pay their credit card? Have you ever thought that the success you see on social media could be just a rental image? We live in an era where it's easy to look rich, but much harder to actually be rich. How many times have you felt like you needed to keep up, just so you don't look like a failure? But what few people tell you is the silent price of this borrowed lifestyle. And here's a warning. The last secret in this video could be the turning point between bankruptcy and financial freedom. Stay with me until the end, because what seems like success could be keeping you away from real wealth.
Chapter 1. The Allure of Instant Luxury.
Have you ever seen someone post a photo of themselves in a luxury car or a five-star hotel and thought, that person is winning at life? On social media, we are bombarded with images of a perfect life, filled with expensive dinners, international trips, designer clothes and sports cars. But what almost no one shows, or wants to show, is that much of this lifestyle is rented. Yes, rented literally. With just a few clicks, anyone can now rent a luxury car for a few hours, book a night at an expensive hotel, or rent a mansion for a weekend. And all of this with a single goal, to look rich, even if it is draining their finances. This new trend has gained momentum with the growth of social media. Influencers and aspiring celebrities are keen to show off a lifestyle that they often cannot sustain for even a week. The obsession with the aesthetics of wealth has created a new market, the financed appearance. And the most dangerous part of this behavior spreads. Ordinary people who work hard every month start to believe that they need to show off too. They feel pressured to live up to a standard they can't afford. They start to get into debt to finance trips, clothes, cars, and even expensive dinners, all to appear to be on another level. But the problem goes beyond the financial impact. Renting the perfect lifestyle also affects the mindset. The person starts to be satisfied with the illusion of success. They prefer to appear successful, rather than actually being successful. This paralyzes growth. After all, when you are satisfied with the image, you lose the appetite for real construction. This is a phenomenon that has a name, the economy of ostentation. And it is fueled by a system that profits from your vanity. Banks offer easy credit, companies promote immediate consumption, and social networks reward those who appear to be successful, even if it is all fake. But the big trap is the invisible cost. The cost of giving up your real dreams to support a borrowed dream. While you pay off a $2,000 pair of sneakers in installments, someone else is investing that same $2,000 in a course, a business, or knowledge. While you rent a luxury car to post on Instagram, someone else is using that money to build an emergency fund. And this difference in choices adds up over the years. The result? Those who prioritize real construction experience a quieter, but also more solid process. Meanwhile, those who rent the perfect lifestyle experience a fragile, unstable, and often lonely reality. Because when the money runs out, the pose falls. And those who lived only for appearances lose everything, even their credibility. That's why in this chapter, I want to invite you to reflect. Are you building something real or just renting an image? Are you getting closer to your financial goals, or are you just pretending you've gotten there? The good news is that you can change. Real life, the kind that brings security, freedom, and purpose, begins with conscious choices. And that change starts now, here with you. In the next chapters, we'll explore how this quest for appearances affects your mindset, your finances, and your opportunities for real growth. We'll talk about the invisible price of faking it, how to escape this trap, and most importantly, how to build a life where you don't have to rent success, because you'll have truly earned it. But remember, the most important secret is in the last chapter, and it can change everything. So stay with me until the end.
Chapter 2. The Lie We Sell Ourselves.
Have you ever caught yourself saying, "I deserve this"? After a tough week, a month of hard work, comes that almost uncontrollable urge to reward yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that, until those little rewards turn into a lifestyle you can't afford. The truth is that many of us are selling ourselves the illusion that we're doing well financially, when in reality we're just surviving, and often in debt. And you know what the trap is? The illusion works. The new sneakers make you feel powerful. The trip to the expensive restaurant gives you a sense of victory. The car financed in 60 installments makes you believe you've leveled up. But all of this is momentary. The feeling of progress disappears while the financial burden remains. This is where the danger lies. Instant luxury numbs the discomfort of reality. Instead of facing up to the fact that we are out of our budget, we prefer to lie to ourselves. We prefer to look good rather than admit that we need to change. And this lie has a very high cost, because it prevents us from taking action. While you convince yourself that everything is fine, you don't invest. You don't save. You don't learn. You don't grow. You settle into a fake reality, decorated by purchases that don't represent real achievements. This behavior is reinforced by an environment that encourages emotional consumption. Ads tell you that you need that new cell phone model. Social media shows your friends living better than you, and you feel tempted to keep up, even if, deep down, it hurts you financially. It's as if we were in an invisible race. A silent competition to prove success, where no one knows what's behind the other person's facade. And this creates a vicious cycle. You buy to feel better, then feel guilty, get into debt, but keep buying because it's the only thing that gives you momentary pleasure. But true wealth isn't about momentary pleasure. It's about consistency, discipline, and conscious choices. The big turning point happens when you look in the mirror and say, "Enough lying to me." When you choose the temporary discomfort of truth over the false relief of appearance, that's when you start building. Because when you stop spending to appear, you start investing to be. And make no mistake, this isn't about living a miserable life without pleasure or rewards. It's about understanding the right moment, the right strategy, and the right order. It's about planting now to reap real fruits later, instead of buying flowers that will wither tomorrow. The wealth mindset begins when you change the question from "How much can I spend this month?" to "How much can I invest in my future this month?" From that moment on, every dollar that enters your account stops being just an instrument of pleasure and becomes a tool for construction. Real life requires courage. Courage to admit that you need to change. Courage to face social pressure. Courage to say no when everyone else is saying yes. But that's the courage that separates those who just pretend to be successful from those who really achieve it. And if you've made it this far, it's because that courage is already within you. In the next chapters, we'll continue to uncover the traps that prevent your financial freedom. We'll talk about how to transform mindset into action and build brick by brick the life you truly deserve to live. And remember, the most powerful secret is reserved for the end. You don't want to miss it.
Did you like these strategies to achieve financial freedom? Then leave a like and subscribe for more content that will transform your life.
Chapter 3. When Lifestyle Becomes Prison.
At first, it seems like freedom. Renting your dream car, booking that apartment with a sea view for your vacation, going out to dinner at trendy restaurants. All of this gives you the feeling of living the high life. But little by little, this freedom starts to turn into a prison. That's where the danger of an unsustainable lifestyle lies. It disguises itself as an achievement, but it's actually a trap. When you get used to temporary luxury, you start to believe that you can't live without it. Experiences become patterns, and maintaining this pattern requires an income that most of the time doesn't really exist. What does exist is credit. Credit cards become bridges to a reality that wasn't built, but rented. Long installments hide the real price of choices, and debt becomes a silent companion, sneaky but constant. The irony? The more you spend to appear rich, the poorer you become. This cruel logic traps thousands of people in a life where everything seems perfect on the outside, but is falling apart on the inside. Emotions such as anxiety, fear, and guilt become part of the routine. All this to sustain a lifestyle that does not represent progress, but rather stagnation. There is a harsh but true saying, rich people live like poor people for a while so they can live like rich people forever. Poor people live like rich people for a while and then live like poor people forever. This inversion of logic is what separates those who build wealth from those who live in illusion. And it is not about giving up the beauty of life, but about choosing the right moment for it. Those who understand the value of time know that planting today means reaping freedom tomorrow. While some rent pleasures, others buy freedom. And this freedom has a name: wealth. Wealth is what sustains you when the money stops coming in. It is what continues to grow when you sleep. It is what ensures that your future will be lighter than your present. But to build wealth, you need to resist the temptation to show off before it's time. And that hurts because we're bombarded every day with images of artificial success. The problem is that no one posts their overdue rent bill. No one shows their credit card statement. All we see is the filter: smiles, trips, gifts, and cars. Comparing your real life to other people's showcases is the quickest shortcut to frustration and debt. To escape this prison, you need the courage to swim against the tide. Courage to say no to invitations that are beyond your budget. Courage to live below your means now so that in the future you can live beyond them. And when this awareness sets in, something magical happens. You stop caring about what other people think, and you start caring about what you're going to achieve. That's when your lifestyle stops being a prison and becomes a strategy. You can still have pleasures, but now they are supported by assets, not debts. You can still enjoy life, but now with peace of mind, not guilt. The real luxury is knowing that even if everything stops today, you have a solid foundation. A life built with intelligence, not appearances. That is the path we are heading down. And in the next chapters, you will discover how to transform this awareness into practical actions to get out of the shop window and start building a real life. And don't forget, the most transformative secret is in the last chapter. It can change everything.
Chapter 4: The Hidden Price of Comparison. How Instagram makes you poorer.
Every day when you open Instagram, you're bombarded with images of perfect lives. Smiling couples on international trips, young people driving luxury cars, dinners in expensive restaurants, shiny watches, designer clothes. All of this, in sequence, carefully edited. And without even realizing it, you start comparing yourself. You look at your reality and feel like you are behind. That you should be earning more, traveling more, living more. And to compensate for this feeling, you start spending. But you don't spend to be happy. You spend to try to keep up with a reality that is not always true. Many of those influencers are also renting that lifestyle. They paid for the car in installments, the trip was financed, the cell phone is borrowed. But the photo? Oh, the photo is perfect. Comparison is one of the most powerful traps of the digital age. It turns consumption into competition. You no longer buy something because you need it, but because you want to prove to others and to yourself that you are winning the game. But this game is rigged, and the prize, most of the time, is debt and frustration. The most dangerous thing is that this dynamic goes beyond the financial. It affects your self-esteem, your clarity of purpose, your focus. You start to define success based on what others are showing you, and you forget to look at your journey, your progress, your values. It's like running a marathon while looking at someone else's track. You stumble, get lost, and don't even realize that you've already advanced much further than you imagined. Instagram is not the villain. The question is how you deal with it. You can use social media as a tool for inspiration or as a poison that erodes your confidence and empties your bank account. You have control, but only if you are aware. And that's where financial awakening comes in. When you understand that wealth is not measured in likes but in freedom, you start using money as leverage, not as makeup. You stop buying status and start investing in assets. You step out of the audience and take the stage of your own story. In the next chapter, we will reveal how to transform this awareness into action, how to change your mindset, break the cycle of comparison, and build a lifestyle based on truth, freedom, and purpose.
Want to achieve wealth and freedom? Start now. Leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next tips.
Chapter 5. True freedom is in control, not an image.
When we look at today's society, we see a dangerous pattern. People who believe that financial freedom means showing off power, and impressing. But this is the most sophisticated trap of consumerism. True freedom, the kind that makes you breathe easy and sleep soundly, has nothing to do with appearance and everything to do with control. Control over your decisions, control over your spending, control over your trajectory. Renting the perfect lifestyle may seem like freedom in the short term, but deep down, it's just a prison disguised as glamour. Who controls your mind? Advertising? Social media? The fear of appearing less successful than others? As long as you're held hostage by this narrative, you'll never be truly free. You'll just be an extra in a script written by others, playing a character you no longer recognize. Freedom begins when you decide to break this script, when you choose not to finance a luxury car just to feel included, when you choose to live in a comfortable place that is compatible with your reality and not in a setting for Instagram photos, when you exchange the search for external validation for the solid construction of a future. This is when true power emerges, the power to say no. No to superfluous things, no to the emotional traps of consumption, no to the rented lifestyle that prevents you from investing in what really matters: your financial education, your business, your assets, your peace. Those who truly build wealth know that the greatest asset you can have is not a new car or a house with a sea view. It is the freedom of time and choice. And this can only be achieved when we stop trying to impress others and start inspiring ourselves. Starting today, stop renting images and start building realities. The success you seek so much is not in shop windows or on feeds. It is in the silent decisions that no one sees, but that take you to a place that few reach, that of real financial autonomy. Remember, the world teaches you how to spend, but no one teaches you how to control it, and that's where you stand out from the crowd. When you understand that your journey is unique and that control over it is worth more than any appearance, you start writing a new story, a story that doesn't depend on approval, but on purpose.
It's time to stop acting and start living for real. Stop playing the supporting role in other people's lives and take the lead in your own financial journey. The freedom you so desire is not in rented appearances. It's in conscious choices. Today you have something powerful in your hands: control. And with it you can build a solid, authentic life based on purpose and not on approval. The perfect lifestyle is not rented. It is built step by step with intelligence, discipline, and a long-term vision. Are you ready to stop impressing and start conquering? Then start now. The journey towards real financial freedom begins with a simple decision: saying yes to what brings you closer to your goals and not to what takes you away from them. And if you've stayed this far, it's because something inside you wants more. You want change. You want evolution. Click on the next video in the 15 Tips for Wealth series and continue this path with those who are committed to your growth. Because the next step could be the one that will change your story forever.